Hello and welcome to another StarCraft 2 co-op video. Today we'll be finishing off the series with the final Multitask Mutators that we haven't talked about yet. Let's start with aggressive deployment. For some reason, the timings for the Protoss waves are slightly earlier than the ones for Terran or Zerg. So you might end up fighting like an extra wave if the game goes on for quite a long time. Note that the highest tech is 6, so you won't be fighting the strongest of the enemy comps. And of course, the difficulty of this mutator depends on what enemy comp you're fighting. For those who don't know, a unit with a weapon, that means a unit that can deal damage by attacking, will be chosen. This unit must be on terrain that is accessible by ground and is not near the main hatch, CC, or nexus. Then the AD wave will drop there. However, if the only unit with a weapon is an air unit over unpathable terrain, the wave for that player will not spawn. So if you fly a Mirage into a corner and use only cannons and static defense for the entire game, you won't have to deal with your aggressive deployment waves. Your allies' waves will still spawn. On defensive maps, you want to fall back and defend at home when the waves are about to hit. On offense maps, you rely on buildings to stall and mobility to get your army back home to fight the allies' wave, or you need to split your army. Now we're going to take a look at how to deal with the allies' wave in solos. In duels, the waves will just attack your regular army, so your army is going to be there anyways. For Raynor, you can use Duskwing Masteries to match the aggressive deployment timings, make lots of mines, bunkers, and maybe tanks to deal with long-range enemies. For Kerrigan, you can make lots of Omega Worms so you can go back and forth between your main and the objective or wherever you want to go on the map. For Artanis, you can make a few cannons and then warp in some units at home to stall. Then those units can join your army, or they can just stay there for the next wave. Swan can make some Static D. Zagara as well, Static D plus Deep Tunnel if you're P3. Borazun can make a few cannons and leave some DTs at home. You can also use Dark Pylon to recall your entire army, deal with the wave, then recall back onto the field. For Carax, you can make a lot of Static D, and same with Abathur. Abathur can also Deep Tunnel his Brutalisks back home. And if you want, you can make some zero biomass swarm hosts to just stall even longer. Alarak can overcharge some pylons. He can also use the mothership to teleport home and deal with the wave, then walk back out. For Nova, she can use an airstrike or tanks and mines with some missile turrets to deal with the air units. Stukov can use tanks plus infrastructure, and you should have some Diamondbacks nearby for air units, or you can have bunkers or just the barracks, make some infested marine. For Phoenix, you can use the Zealot or Dragoon suit. This is better with P1, so you have a stronger suit and you can use it every 2 minutes, which is in line with the timings for aggressive deployment. Tahaka can use static defense plus impalers or swarm hosts, or just regular primal hosts. Han and Horner can use strike fighters and widow mines. Tychus uses Nux with Lone Wolf. Zeratul uses his static D plus Legion. The Legion's cooldown matches the aggressive deployment timings. Stetman can use static defense, and you can teleport back, or use Gary Zone to rush back across the map and deal with the wave. Manx just uses a lot of static D. You can also make a tank or two if you want. For Outbreak, starting from 2 minutes, infested civilians will be spawned from buildings, and they will walk to your base slowly, so you should have some defenses before 2:45. Starting from 8 minutes, infested marines will come, and then starting from 20 minutes, aberrations will come. In the middle, medics will be randomly spawned and they will just walk with the waves. If you destroy all the buildings, there will be no more infested. The map clearing logic is the same as Void Reanimators. If you haven't watched that video, you can watch it here. To defend against Outbreak, Raynor can make bunkers and tanks with some SCVs to repair. Kerrigan can use Omega Worms, Lurkers, and Spine Crawlers. Artanis makes cannons and immortals. You need to SimCity versus Abs because they're very strong. Swan uses static defense and tanks. Zagara uses spines and bow launchers. When aberrations come, add Lings because their armor shred plus their evasion will be very helpful. Borazun can Dark Pylon wall her base so that the infested can't break through. You can put cannons behind the wall to slowly poke away at these units. Carax just makes a lot of static D as always. Abathur can use swarm hosts and spines. Alarak uses one vanguard at each base or a bunch of cannons versus the infested marines. For aberrations, you'll need Wrathwalkers or a good SimCity, or else the abs will just trash you. You can't just overcharge forever. For Nova, make lots of tanks and use Liberators later on. Stukov also makes lots of tanks and bunkers. Phoenix masses cannons, and then when aberrations come, Immortals and Tal'Darim can stay behind to deal with them. Dehaka masses Impalers and Primal Hosts to stall them. Han and Horner uses Widow Mines and then put Hellions behind depots when the abs come, so the abs can't reach the Hellions so easily. Nux can deal with infested marines very well. Vega will be good against aberrations because she can just dominate them and then have them fight each other. Zeratul can project cannons so that the aberrations don't hurt the regular cannons. Stetman uses lurkers. Manx uses tanks and bunkers. GIF exchange is interesting because while it can be fun, the GIFs spawn anywhere on the map, so if the first GIF is unreachable, you might have to re-roll. The GIFs for Amon are the ones on the screen, and the GIFs for players are on the screen here. Claiming the GIFs takes 20 seconds, and the GIFs are different for you and your ally. The enemies that accompany the gift waves are shown on the screen here. The enemies will be the same as the enemy comp that you're fighting, and later on they will come with hybrids. It's about every 2 minutes and 10 seconds, which is like roughly the same as aggressive deployment, starting from 3 minutes. Starting from 20 minutes and 25 seconds, it'll be every 1 minute 40 seconds, so that's a lot more frequent. For all commanders, make extra production structures in case you get everything is free, so you can take advantage of it. Make an extra Nexus hatch or CC or 2 in case of killbots, because that's usually the most threatening gift. For Dehaka, Essence prevents capture, so if you kill escorts with creeper hosts, Amon cannot get the gift even if you don't kill all the enemies. For Abathur, Biomass prevents capture, so if you deep tunnel Brutas to the gifts, kill one enemy or two and then walk away, Amon won't be able to capture the gift. If you're a Zerg commander, you can burrow a unit to prevent the capture of the first gift until your hero unit is out. For Kerrigan, Zagara, Abathur, and Stetman, Amon has vision of your first overlord, so you should separate it from the others, because if Amon gets scourged from the gifts, it will go towards your overlord group. Remember that you don't have to capture gifts. Amon won't steal unless you have taken 2 gifts already. However, beware that he might incidentally capture any gifts along his path. So make sure that any gifts you leave behind are not along the attack wave's paths. Next, we have killbots. So the clearing logic is the same as Void Reanimators. If you clear all the buildings on the map, the killbots will stop spawning. You will want to make extra production buildings to feed the killbots. Here's how each commander feeds killbots. Raynor uses Marines and SCVs because they're the cheapest. Kerrigan can use Creep Tumors, which are free, Lings, Evolution Chambers, Omega Worms, and Broodlords. If there are no enemies nearby, your Broodlords can attack your own Omega or other Broodlings to make more Broodlings. Artanis can only feed with Observers and Probes, Swan can only feed with SCVs. Zagara feeds with Banes, Lings, Creep Tumors, and Hunter Killers. Vorazun can feed with Probes and Stasis Wards. For Stasis Wards, beware not to aggro the bots, because if the bots chase after your units, it will walk through your Stasis Ward farm and not attack them. Karax feeds with Observers and Probes. He can also feed with units claimed with Energizers. Abathur can feed using Creep Tumors, Toxic Nests, Evolution Chambers, and Swarm Hosts Locusts. Alarak can feed with Havocs and Probes. The only reason why you would feed Havocs is that your gateways are idle, so you might as well make something with them because they cost just 50. Nova can feed with SCVs, Raven Turrets, and the Raven Turrets Healing Drone. Stukov should put a barracks at each choke to use Infest Structure. Phoenix feeds with Observers and Probes. Dehaka feeds with Drones and Lings. They cost the same. You can also feed with Primal Hosts Locusts. However, the Hosts Locusts have a lot of HP, so you don't want to use too many of them. Han and Horner feeds with Reapers and SCVs. They cost the same amount. Tychus throws Sirius Turrets. You can also feed units mind-controlled with Vega, and if nothing else, you feed SCVs. Zeratul feeds Observers and Probes. Stetman uses Evolution Chambers, Lings, and Infestors, Roaches, and Ravagers. The Roaches and Ravagers aren't really meant for feeding. You just kind of throw them and like you don't care if they are hit by killbots. And of course, for Lings, do not get the Hardened Shield upgrade because it'll take longer for the Lings to die. And if that happens, the bots might accumulate. And if there are too many of them in a spot, they might block your path. If you're playing on a map like Mal Warfare, they might turn around and hit Arana instead, and that's very bad. Manx feeds with troopers. Alright, and that's it for this video. Like and subscribe if you like this series. Comment down below what you thought about it and what you have learned. Thanks to all the members who are supporting me. If you would like to join the squad, please check out the description in the link below. And while you're here, why don't you check out the list of all the guides for this series? Learn how to deal with all the mutators. See you there.